guys, it's me Chandran. So today's video I want to do usually pull edition for 5.5, this time between Varesa, Xianyun, Xilonen, and Venti. So yeah, as usual in here I'll cover about the overview, positive and negative, recommendation to pull, and even should you pull the weapon or constellation. So yeah, something like that. Let's get started. Let's start first with the brand new characters, Varesa. So Varesa in general is a strong main DPS in Electro, and arguably some people say that she is the best as a Electro carrier right now, and I can say on some extent is yes, especially if you pair her in the right team, and then yes, she will shine more even than Chlorine or even Raiden though. So usually the team that you put like Yansan, Xianyun, and even Furina, usually that team supposed to be doing better than other Electro DPS, or even like overall the Yun to play with Mawika and Chevreuse itself, and Xianyun is usually better than those other Electro DPS. So yeah, because of that, she is relatively already like in the good side. You should not worry her as in terms of power. Another good thing about her that I want to talk is that she is relatively fluid and smoother to play compared to other Natlan DPS. Because if you want to compare like let's say like Moalani, Chaska, and even Mawika, you don't feel that smooth. You will feel there's clunkiness, but in Varesa it's relatively smooth and feels like more fluid to play, and I think it's a really good thing because parts of the character just feel clunky. Also regarding her exploration, she relatively feels nice in exploration because she just runs so fast, so pretty nice, especially she can jump pretty high too. It's also pretty good to kind of like semi-flying. So yeah, and in general she's really good too for exploration. As for downside or something to note, I don't think she has a major downside, but there's a couple things that I want to mention in here is that regarding her AoE, because I think before when I play, I think her AoE pretty good, but the more I play, I don't think it's as good as I think. So her AoE is just alright, but nothing really crazy. Another thing too is that I think in terms of reaction, Varesa is not typical karate that really rely on reaction. I tried Spiral Beast, it's not really that amazing. So yeah, I think you just better to focus just on plunge than reaction. Like let's say I play in Aggravate, it's not even better than if you just compare with just like literally electro charge. Usually like if you play with Dendro with electro it will be better, but not the case for first. I just focus on plunge or like buffing like her power more than just like reaction though. And lastly, I want to give you a remind, if you expect that she will be as good as Mawika, of course not. She's not even Mawika level. I really say Mawika is just like exception. She is literally cheating code. She is strong but no Mawika level, so you will see some discrepancy, especially if you already have Mawika right now. And for my recommendation for you to pull for Varesa, which is first, is that if you still need a strong main DPS to carry you, maybe you are a returning player or even a new player that's still finding a strong main DPS, then yes, Varesa will be one of them. And I recommend for you to pull for her. And second is that if you really enjoy to play in the plunging playstyle, then yeah, Varesa can be one of them. I think in terms of plunging runner, she's literally one of the most fun. So if you really may be looking for full plunging playstyle, you may be like Varesa. Or maybe too that you already have like a plunging setup, so you already have Xianyun, or even you already have like Furina, even Yansan, then of course I think getting Varesa can be a good nice addition to make your whole team become solid. And third, if you need a character that's good at horizontal exploration, and I think Varesa can be one of the solutions. She is really running fast, so it's very good on horizontal exploration. And lastly, of course, if you like character and gameplay, feel free to pull for her. As for Varesa, should you pull for early constellation or signature weapon? So I can say in general, her signature weapon is a best starting point first, because her signature weapon is quite huge gap compared to other like 5-star, not even close with the Lost Prayer, which is second the best. So that's why I really recommend for you to get the signature weapon first, and after that C1. C1 is actually pretty good because it increased Varesa plunging attack ground impact by another 180%, so that's actually pretty good. It gives you a noticeable increase, so that's why I think this is the second priority. For the C2, it technically looks good in theory because it can reduce your fast ultimate and it also requires lesser energy, but I believe this will change your rotation. So because of that, I think this is still need more testing from the people and stuff. It just looks good, but as per right now, I cannot really give you a guarantee. So that's why in short, for my priority, just pull signature weapon and after that constellations. Second character is Xianyun. Xianyun in general, the main selling point is she is the dedicated buffer for any plunge attacker. So yeah, that's mostly the reason you want Xianyun. And also she's pretty much a good healer with Furina because she heals everyone. So it's really synergistic very well with Furina. And the good thing also in here, she can mix everyone plunge, meaning that it can somehow change playstyle for certain character. Let's say like Diluc, you play into plunge style, or even Navia, you become plunge style. And I think it's also pretty good thing because it can refresh your mind. Sometimes you already tired, right? Let's say play Diluc the same thing or Navia the same thing. Now with Xianyun, you can change your playstyle, so you have two different way. So I think it's pretty much quite fun to have like altering between like plunge, not plunge. So yeah, that's why like it's pretty a nice things too. Another thing, because Xianyun also can equip Predison, so she at least can give some support for the shred in here. Although it's not of course as good as Kazuo, but yeah, at least she can. So that's also pretty nice little touch too. Another thing, she also pretty nice in exploration because you can use the Skrill 3 times. So yeah, she kinda like can somehow helpful in exploration, but right now we already have so much character in the exploration. I don't think this value is super that high anymore. As for the downside, I don't think she has some major downside, but there's a couple things that I want to highlight, which is don't expect her performance in terms of give you threat, especially with very decent, will be as good as Kazuo or Sucrose, because it will not. It's just okay, but Kazuo and Sucrose is just much better. If you want to find literally the one that gives threat, then prioritize Kazuo and Sucrose. Don't look for Xianyun. She just like cherry on top, not for that like 100%. Another thing that I want to highlight, that her energy might be issue for some people. Like literally you need a lot of energy in her. So somehow if you find like on certain like abyss, if you're kind of messed up your rotation, it's kind of hard to get Xianyun energy back. So yeah, that's a little bit awkward, but if you're getting used to it, I think it can be manageable. And in here, if you're still confused, I have my recommendation for you to pull for Xianyun, which is first, if you want a dedicated buff for plunge attacker, let's say like character like Xiao, Gaming, and even Varesa, then yeah, I really recommend to pull for her because she just amplified by a lot. And second, maybe you enjoy to do plunge attack playstyle, or you want to change at least your playstyle on certain character. Let's say I already said before Navia, even like Yae, sometimes I play in the plunge playstyle too. And if you want to kind of like give a different vibe, something like that, then yeah, I think pulling Xianyun also pretty nice because we don't even have any character right now that can give like advantage for doing plunge other than Xianyun. So yeah, maybe if you want to keep altering like playstyle, I really recommend to pull Xianyun. Third, if you need a good healer for Furina, then Xianyun will be one of them. Literally sometimes even I don't use plunge, I just put Xianyun because she can heal everyone, so it's very benefit for Furina. And lastly, of course, if you like character and gameplay, feel free to pull for her. And for Xianyun, should you get the signature weapon or constellation? Then in general, I would say depends on which topic point. And for now, if you just want to go to C1, then I just recommend for weapon, just because the weapon itself is pretty much really good, give you a bunch of attack and also give you energy and buffing even more for plunge attacker. So I think it's just so nice and universal for plunge attacker, so it just have more benefit. C1 is not bad, it gives you technically more energy. You basically just get the skill charge another one times, but yeah, it's not really something that I can say like wow compared to the weapon. However, if you want to go to C2, then it's also a relatively good constellation because it just technically will buff the Xianyun plunge attack, like the shockwave itself, and increase Xianyun attack. So that's in general actually good constellation. But again, considering like you have to go C2 and right now weapon you just only need to lose one, I think value wise I still go for the weapon. So I think if I want to give my priority, weapon, C2, then C1. Third character is Xilonen. Xilonen in general a very flexible buffer and also a healer, so kinda like doing double job, which is really good. And she also offers as a Kazuo alternative. And the upside, if you really wonder what compared to Kazuo, is that I think it's really more convenient for casual, just because you don't need to pay attention, oh, which element that I need to swirl. You just literally need to do skill, just keep doing a basic attack, and after that, yeah, you already get the shred. That's really convenient, and you don't need even to think like which element you need to swirl. So I think that alone really gives you a convenience for casual. Other than that, the shred actually lasts longer, so it's actually pretty good. Another thing that she can heal. So yeah, maybe if you prioritize heal more compared to crowd control, then she become, of course, better than Kazuha if you value more in healing. For Xilonen, I think building is a little bit easier if you want to make as a support because her threat is only from the talent skill, meaning that whenever you just increase the talent skill, the threat is already there because it's fixed. But for Kazuha, you need to tune from the EM. It's technically already easy, just like EM, but I think Xilonen feels more confident because it's just from the skill level. And another upside is that Xilonen, if you want to force her, she can become a DPS, even though the DPS is actually very mid. It's just literally super mid, but it can work if you have no choice. So yeah, in the end of the day, she's pretty much universal character in general. As for downside, I don't think she has literally a major downside, but I want to highlight certain thing, which is right now in Genshin Impact, we have a lot of different buffer, debuffer, or even support right now. So because of it, although she's really good, don't get me wrong, she's really good, but if you don't get her, it's not the end of the day. Let's say you decide to not get Xilonen, you still have a lot of alternatives. You have Kazuha, you have Sucrose. If you want more niche, we have like Citlali, we have Chefrus. Right now, Yansan, really good attack buffer if you really want. Xianyun already have buffing in Plunge. So yeah, we have so much variation and option right now. So even you decide to not get Xilonen, then it's totally fine. So if people say it's must, it's not a must. I think she's just a very good in terms of value to pull because it's just so universal. But if you decide to not get her, it's totally fine. So don't feel too FOMO that you have to get her. And another thing that I want to highlight is that if you really hope that she can work very well in mono geo support, then she is not, because technically in her kit you actually just want 2 geo at the best. If you put 3, she cannot really give buff properly. So yeah, because of that, in mono geo it don't really work that well unless you want to play mono geo, but she is the one that main DPS, and that's fine. As for my recommendation for you to pull for Xilonen is that first, if you need a universal support, I think this is really suitable if you're really casual. Then I think Xilonen is really a great help for you because she just mostly work in most of the team. It's just very universal. It's not always the best option, but usually casual don't really care the best option. As long as it works, and mostly she can work. Second is that if you need character that work generally well in Natlan roster, let's say you have a lot of different Natlan playable character right now, then pulling Xilonen will be very good option because she can mostly work with them. So yeah. And third is that if you want to improve your exploration, especially like climbing or even horizontal, I think she is really good. So far, I think she's very convenient right now for exploration. I use her a lot. Another thing is that maybe if you still need the second Kazuha to expand, let's say, your team, or even you want Kazuha alternative because maybe you play Spiral Abyss, one side is Kazuha you already use, another side then you can put Xilonen. So the scenario something like that, then yeah, you can pull for Xilonen. And lastly, of course, if you like the character and gameplay, feel free to pull for her. As for Xilonen, should you get the early constellation or the signature weapon, then I can say the stopping point is very depends which one that you want to go to. If you only go for C1, then just go the weapon right away because the weapon at least can give some like support capability, so that's actually pretty good. Because C1, the only good thing is that your exploration getting better because the Night Soul getting lesser. But other than that, if you just want to looking for the resistant interruption, it's basically not significant at all. Some people expect it will be wah. No, I already do my testing. It's literally not really wah. Like Nivulette itself, it's only like can save maybe 1 or like hard hit. After that, it's already like getting destroyed. So in most of the case, I don't even remember I even have resistant interruption at C1 Xilonen because it's really not significant. However, if you want to go for C2, depends on which element that you have, it can be better than the weapon itself. So let's say mostly in Pyro for let's say like Kino, Mawika, then yeah, it will be better than getting the weapon. Also like Geo or even Hyro that HP killing, then yeah, it will be better. However, maybe if you want to buff let's say like Child, then Child will not getting benefit because he is attack scaler and Hydro just buffing HP. So because of that, depends on which character is your main, then it can be better than weapon, it can be not better than weapon. So just you have to see which main that you want to go first. So if you just want to go very safe, I think the route just pull for weapon first, then after that you can looking forward for C2. If you want to looking forward for C1, I don't recommend. C1 is just literally very mid. The last character, the anime icon, Venti. So Venti in general, the main selling point if you're looking for him is that the crowd controlling, because he's the best right now. No one can beat. Literally any like minion he can just suck into one place, and that's actually really good if you're looking for crowd control. And this crowd control mostly will be useful in theater, because theater sometimes we have this minion. I think it's pretty kind of convenient in general, but again it's RNG, like depends if it's like Venti is up or not in that roster. Another good thing about him is that you can still put, of course, Veridison or Vivi in here to get some threat. Of course, not the best. Will be similar case like Xianyun. Not the best, but it's like cherry on top. As for downside of Venti is that technically mostly it's not his fault, but crowd control lately it feels very insignificant, especially if you want to talk Spiral Abyss. It's not really that useful anymore. So because of that, it's literally just make even Venti. Rarely we will kind of choose him as a top choice. Surely you can still bring him, but mostly it's kind of pointless because you cannot crowd control, especially if it's boss. It's just boss you want to use for damage or even for the shred. So yeah, because of that, his feels very like Hoyo teach him, so it's a little bit sad in here. His future is very dependent on Hoyo too. If they want to make a lot of minions or at least enemy that can pull, then yes, he will become super good again. As for recommendation to pull for Venti is at first, if you need a character, of course, that literally the best for crowd controlling, then yes, feel free to pull for him. I think I already told you before, the one that mostly benefit this is like Theater or even like Spiral Abyss 11. Usually there's minion there, so it can like literally pull enemy. I think it can help you to go through that stage. So yeah, maybe if you still need like this kind of like crowd control, then yes, feel free to pull for him. Second is that maybe if you really anemo main, you really enjoy on anemo, then Venti will be your choice. And third, if you like the character and gameplay, especially your Archon collector, then yeah, feel free to pull for Venti. As for Venti, should you pull for early Constellation or should you get the signature weapon? And for me, just go the signature weapon all the way. Literally C1 it's kind of not useful at all. It's only for the aim shot. No one will use this for Venti. I guess if you want to make main DPS, I guess, but rare, I don't know people who will use this. And C2 is actually pretty good, give you animal rest and physical rest. But the problem is that this one alone already better if you're just using like Paruzan. So like it's too expensive, then come to the point if you want to get like C2. Other character better like casual threat every element, Xilonen at C0. So it feels too expensive for me. So yeah, because of that, just get signature weapon. At least signature weapon can give you energy recharge, have some buff, and quite universal for some like literally support for both characters. So at least it still has value though. So yeah, that's pretty much it regarding what should you pull in 5.5. In general, if you ask which one is my verdict, then my choice, I will go with Xilonen. Just because Xilonen in general is a very universal buffer in general, so you will never go wrong. You can just put on any character, even it's not the best choice, but at least it still can works. However, I want to also highlight is that just because right now in Xianyun banner, the Forcer also pretty good buffer like Yansan and Sheriffs itself, and Xianyun in general too pretty much a good like buffer for plunging, although it's niche. However, I think if you want to decide to get Xianyun, it's also not bad idea, although it's a little bit niche, especially if you care about plunging. Just because the Forcer also not bad, Yansan pretty much a good attack buffer, and Shivers also in literally overload pretty good as a buffer, so both of them is a good 4-star. So when you pull Xianyun, you have like literally potentially 3 characters that will be good that you will get, so it's also quite good value. So in general, I think my verdict between the Xilonen and Xianyun, it will be not so much different just because the 4-star, but in the end I will still choose Xilonen first as a top priority. So that's pretty much it. If you like this video, feel free to hit the button and like, and I'll see you next time.